probably time for an update on this bad unit here. Here it is, end of January. Last time I talked about it was sometime November, December. So why is the project still sitting here like this? What kind of progress do we have, and why is it like this? First, let's start with the obvious. I work 50 to 60 hours a week for a major city down here in the Metro Valley in Arizona, and I just don't have time. It's weekends and nights when I get to work on this thing. I'm not a race team, I'm just a private guy working on my own hobbies. How far along are we? Well, let's take a look. Still got this steering taken apart because it'll be one of the last things to go back together. Everything is taken apart down here, and I want to make sure all my cable lengths are correct going up to this point, and then we'll straighten everything out up here, make sure all my cable lengths are correct. I don't want any binding when I turn, so that'll be the last thing to go back in. Down here, I've gotten some more sanding accomplished on the hull. It's just tedious and painful, and don't like doing it, so I haven't made a whole lot of more progress, but I did get farther down in the back there and got that drive shaft out. You can see it just looks terrible, and that's where I left off. I don't want to do it, and I don't like doing it. That's where I've left off. So I want to clean up the glue in those corners, tidy things up, and I might just like lay in epoxy or JB or something, make it look really nice, and then this whole entire thing is getting painted. I just want simplicity to be the name of the game. As you can see, drive shaft, pump, intake grate, cables, cooling line, everything has been pulled out. It's going to be getting a new copper cooling line. It was aluminum and it looked awful. I'm going to clean all that caulk out, stick in the new pump. Old news, put on the Pro Watercraft rear and front sponsons. I've also stripped off all my registration and numbers because I got a one-piece kit from a race number manufacturer that's going to make this thing look a lot nicer. Now let's talk about the parts. Here's the internals of a jet ski as they sit on my garage floor as of today. This is actually it for fasteners. All my nuts and bolts and screws, miscellaneous parts, they've all been washed in solvent and all of it's clean. This is actually everything left over from a jet ski you can fit in just there, because I tend to put all my stuff in little assembled areas so I don't have a pile of fasteners. But that's my fuel system, it's clean. That's the rubber hold down system, it's clean. Cooling system's all clean. What am I looking for here? The bilge system's filthy, you need to clean that. The drive shaft, when I got that apart, I discovered the seals were terrible. I must not have done that when I originally rebuilt this jet ski. So I've ordered a bearing and seal kit from an online company with a good reputation, but 2 months later they still haven't sent my parts out. So I canceled my order with them and just went to some knucklehead on eBay that I don't even know, and he's already sent it out. Anyway, these bearings, can you hear it? Trashed. Both of them have some play. Both of them talk a lot. These seals were just puking, so I know that that's going to fix that oil or that grease mess I've had all year long, and this won't be such a mess. There's more evidence of the disgusting nature of it. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do the bonsai mod on this, where you tap it and you just run a little sight level fuel hose, and you fill this with grease or gear oil instead of grease. And I'm all about simplicity, not necessarily extracting the last horsepower out of it, so I may not do that, but there's parts in there to do it. And of course, all the other upgrade parts, so I can attach that. There's my pistons and rings all cleaned up, motor mounts. Motor mounts are dirty, but the bolts are cleaned. There's my carbs, there's my exhaust manifold, flame arresters, spacer, 2 gasket kits. All the rubber parts need to be cleaned. Starter's just fine. There's the old pump. You guys know I'm doing a new pump. There's my right plate intake grade assortment, water box, the pipe, my crank. Let's take a look at that crank. This is the original crank from 1981. This is a 440 crank, not a 550 crank, even though it's not a full circle. They stopped doing that in the 70s. So this has the same crank as the 550. Little bit of play there is okay. There's no up and down on the bearings play, so that's good. Is there? No, there's not. The rest of the bearings feel fine. These seals are new when I did the ski before. I'm just gonna keep using them again. Here's my old engine, or actually just old engine parts. The only things I'm not reusing is the lower cases, the cylinder head. I might reuse these studs, we'll see. But I've actually reused most of the old engine. It just looks like I'm replacing the engine, when in reality it's just 3 parts. I guess pistons, so that counts for what, 5? I'm replacing 5 parts in an engine and getting something completely different. And there it is over there. No peeking, I got some secrets. And while I'm at it, I might as well just mention I'm starting to develop a pile of stuff that's going to go on eBay this spring, guys. I got a shortened West Coast pipe, two 440 cylinders, a 550 head. That's twin BN round body carburetors, a dual carb setup for a 540 or 550. And then this is just a pile of spare parts. The only thing valuable in there is that intake manifold and that switch. The rest of it's just trash. But jet ski parts going on eBay. So that's the project. Next update should look a little better.